We took a fat L during my last poker session, a $2,000 loss. That's a lot of money, and I need to make it back. So I'm going to the spot that I win legitimately 90% of the time, Peaks Dallas. I wish I could tell you guys this session was smooth sailing and we just made the nuts again and again and made back all that money we lost, but that's kind of the opposite of what just happened. There's a chance this session might end worse than last session. But before I sat down, I made up my mind that I'm either losing everything I came with, which is $4,000, or I'm booking a win. No in between. So stop what you're doing, swallow what you're chewing, and let's lock in. Welcome back, everyone. Reporting to you guys from the Chick-fil-A line. I'm in the mobile drive-thru, and somehow the line is like 20 cars long, so guess I shouldn't have done a mobile order. Doesn't matter. Today, I got a banger for you guys, and I haven't even shot the vlog yet, but we're going to Peaks. Every time I go to Peaks, I flop a set like once every orbit. It's guaranteed it'll happen today. Promise. So we're heading to Peaks right now. We're playing a 5-5 session. Let's get into it after I get my Chick-fil-A, which should be in about 20 minutes. We just sat down, and within 15 minutes, we're dealt a premium pocket queens. I'm telling y'all, I run so hot at this spot, it's unreal. The $10 straddle is on and it folds to me in late position. I open to 50. Mason, who just came out of poker retirement to punt some money to us tonight, which he just has a natural gift for, calls on my left. It folds back to the straddler and he calls as well. The flop is slightly concerning. It's 4, 5, 9, 2 diamonds. There's so many hands that either of my opponents could have right now that either have us beat or have a ton of equity against us. The +1 checks, I still have to bet here. I can't let anyone see a turn for free. I make it $85. Mason thinks that's not enough. He raises to $225. The +1 folds, and it's back on us. Now, me and Mason have a ton of history on the felt, and if there's one thing that I know about Mason, it's that he's willing to gamble. What do I mean by that? What I mean is if he has a flush draw right now, he'll 100% call a jam. I have close to $600 in my stack, and if I just call his raise, my stack to pot ratio is going to be a little weird on the turn. Good thing I'm not calling. I go all in. We fade the snap call, which means we definitely have the best hand right now. Mason's in the tank for almost a full minute before he shows his cards, and he has pocket 10s. We are so far ahead right now, and we are praying that he calls. Come on, Mason, just be a good friend. Give me $600. It's not that much money. You're rich, right? He folds. We still make $335 of profit this hand. We'll take it. 10 minutes later, I find myself in a great spot. I'm on the button, I look down at ace jack. Straddle's on again, and the player first to act makes it 25. The cutoff calls, action's on me. Ace jack doesn't play well multi-way, so I'm gonna narrow down the field. I 3-bet to $110. Small blind folds, and obviously the big blind's gonna call. So our plan's working to perfection. The straddler is gonna call as well, and so does the cutoff. So Texas heads up to a flop we go. It's ace-3 queen rainbow. We make top pair, board's dry as can be. Action checks to me. I'm not gonna be greedy. I just wanna take the pot down right now. I bet 165. The big blind folds, but obviously the +1 is not gonna fold. He's gonna do the exact opposite. He raises on this super dry board to $350. Basically a min click. The cutoff gets out of the way. It's back on me. This player's played like 2.5 hands over the past hour and a half. His VPIP's lower than mine, which is pretty hard to do. So in my head, the only way this guy's bluffing is if he has bottom set and thinks I have like middle set and is trying to get me to fold. I mean, there's literally no bluffs he can have on this board. The board couldn't be any drier. There's no way this guy's bluffing. Literally no chance. So I decide I'm gonna be disciplined and fold my top pair. He does not show his hand, but let's be real, there's like 180% chance he had ace queen or pocket threes. For the next hour, we basically lose every single hand. I pick up some pocket pairs, call some 3-bets, miss some flops, try to get tricky and make some bluffs with some really trash hands, and that leads to me being stuck around $500. People around me are winning tons of money, but I'm just getting absolutely railed. And that kind of gives you guys an explanation for why I do what I'm about to do. I look down at pocket nines in middle position. There's a raise to 50. That's right, a 10x open. I'm next to act. I call, and obviously when I finally have a playable hand, there's going to be a 3-bet from the hijack to $200, but it doesn't stop there. No, the big blind's like, you know what? Who cares about sizing? Let's just rip it for $2,000. The original raiser folds, and my cards should be going right behind his, but they're not. Now look, don't y'all judge me, okay? But I feel like I'm due to make a set, and sometimes you just gotta trust your gut. So I call for my remaining $500, fully expecting to be way behind and suck out. The hijack folds, which really sucks because I partially called thinking he'd call as well, but that's not the case, which means we're going heads up to a run out. Flop is not what we're expecting or hoping for at all. It's 8 ace 6. So if you did have ace king, now we're way behind. But the turn is the 9 of hearts, giving us a set. River's a 10 of diamonds, and he shows pocket aces. So that sucks, and we are getting scooped. So remember what I said about always running hot at peaks? Every time I go to peaks, I flop a set like once every orbit. Yeah, what I meant was on my second bullet, I always run hot. Just watch this. 5 minutes after rebind, I look down at ace 10 suited. I straddle the 10, and if you look to my left, you'll see that the 20 and the $40 straddle are on. Brandon opens to 105 and then proceeds to inhale his food. I mean, take a breath, brother. The food's not going anywhere. Relax. It folds to me. We have 2 suited Broadway cards, and there's already 185 in the middle. This feels like a perfect spot to 3-bet. I announce a raise to 350.
350. Oh, God. 350.
The other 2 straddlers snap fold, and it's back on Brandon. Now, he doesn't even realize what's going on because he hasn't taken a breath since he started eating his food. But he finally decides to stop inhaling his food, and he folds, which means we're taking down $175 of profit without even having to see a flop. I thought winning that small pot was the beginning of a little heater, but then we played a pot with ace queen. We're at 3-bet pre-flop, bet the flop, get raised to like 600, and I'm forced to fold my ace high, and we flushed $250 down the drain with it. I decided to top up my stack to 1,500 by adding on another 700, and just like that, we're in for $2,700. I then proceed to dust off another $600 with 4-5 of diamonds, and I actually thought I was pulling off a good bluff, but it's kind of hard to keep bluffing when your opponent goes all in on the river and you have 5 high. So now I'm sitting with a little over 900 in my stack, and then we pick up ace king. I'm in middle position and open to 25. Brandon min raises to 50 in the cutoff, and then Frederick 4-bets to 225 from the small blind. It folds to me, and I'm in a spot. On one hand, I could just call and see a flop, but on the other hand, it feels like a jam is probably the best move with my stack size. It feels like this hand is a hand that decides how our session is going to end, and honestly, I hate ace king, but I'm all in. Brandon folds, and Frederick is in the tank. When he doesn't snap call, I actually think I want him to call now because he might have a hand like ace jack or ace queen suited, which we have absolutely crushed. After thinking for almost an entire minute, he calls. We agree to run it twice. The first flop comes king high, turns a 10, and the river gives us trips. So we have to be good on that board. The second board, however, we completely whiff the flop and the turn and the river. So we're probably gonna chop. But then I show my hand and he mucks. And we get a full double up. We're only stuck a few $100 now. The game is about to break. All I'm looking for is one last chance to get out of this hole. We decided to do a $15 double board PLO bomb pot, and I peel ace 7, queen 10. Not a good hand, but it looks amazing when the first flop comes ace, queen, ace, giving us the nuts, and the second board gives us an open-ended straight draw. I lead for $75 and get called by Brandon, Frederick, and Dusty. So we're 4 ways to a turn, and the turn seals everyone's fate. It's the ace of diamonds giving us quads on top, and the 7 of spades on bottom giving us third pair, which probably isn't good, but we're still drawn to the nuts, so we can still scoop this pot. I decided to just pot this turn and bet $420. If they all fold, who cares? I'll take what's already in the pot. Brandon calls a 420, and then Frederick raises to 925. I forgot to mention one thing. We put a $1,000 cap on this bomb pot, so unfortunately, the max you can bet over the course of the entire hand is $1,000, which typically I'm fine with, but when you have quads on one board and you're drawn to the nuts on the other, you kind of wish there wasn't the cap. Anyways, I call the 925, and somehow bomb pot Brandon, who claims to be the best bomb pot player in all of Texas, folds, which means we're heads up now, and at the moment, I'm certain we're chopping. The first river comes, the 8 of hearts, doesn't matter. But the second river is the king of hearts, giving us the nuts on both boards, which means we're scooping this $2,300 pot, and we are officially out of the trenches. That was basically the last interesting hand we played. We managed to get all the way unstuck and actually book a win of $550, which is a lot better than losing $4,000 if I do say so myself. However, I thought this session was going to be the beginning of an upswing for me, but I guess that's next session. Stay tuned.